In your book, you talk about embracing radical incrementalism. What does that mean for you?
This is the idea that there are contexts where really being willing to make progress on the basis of little and often, right? Kind of gradual progress, to do a tiny bit at a time and not kind of binging on the things you're trying to achieve, can be really powerful. Again, I'm sorry to keep coming back to writing as an example, but the work that I'm drawing on there from a psychologist called Robert Boyle, who studied academics who write and trying to figure out, like, who are the ones who actually get a ton of papers published and a ton of books written, and who are the ones who get mired in like procrastination and paralysis. And he found that the really productive people in that sphere were the ones who made writing a modest part of their daily life, right? It occupied like a couple of hours maybe, as opposed to the ones who made it into this huge thing that then became very intimidating, and they got all sorts of like psychodramas going on with it, because it was something they were willing to sort of do for a little bit, leave aside, come back to. And I think this especially applies to anything that is like brain work, but I think it applies to pretty much all kinds of endeavor, right? There's often a huge benefit in being willing to say, well, I'm going to work on this for a tiny amount of time today, and I'm going to stop, even if I'm on a roll, right? When my time is up, I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to come back. It makes it something that you can sustain day after day after day. If you do the opposite of incrementalism, right? If you give this sort of absolutely center stage in your life, then if it goes well, great. But if it doesn't go well, it becomes this kind of huge, intimidating thing. And I've found that, if I'm working on a book, say, really sort of almost embarrassingly small work days on it, regularly done day after day after day, so much more productive, like in terms of the actual output.
What about deadlines though? Because when I wrote my book, I think the deadline of having to send it to the publisher just hung over me and was like forcing me to, okay, Steve, today you have to write 3,000 words. Yeah,
I think deadlines have their role, right? And I would have got nowhere without deadlines in newspapers, because they sort of helped me sort of bust through perfectionism and stuff, because it was just literally, I did these things I would write these kind of features for The Guardian where I had to the idea came to me or was given to me at like 10:30 in the morning, and 5 p.m. they needed a 2,500 word researched article. You'd just be like, okay, I've just got to do it. But in a way, I'm sort of training myself out of that now. And I think that to make it's perfectly okay and it's fine, but it isn't sustainable. I think that, to really over the long haul be able to do something like writing, I've found requires that I have acquire this ability for sort of dogged persistence rather than, cruising to the deadline.